I'm Jordan, or as my students know me, J-Funk. For this year's Project for Awesome, I'd like you to support the Trevor Project, the leading national organization providing crisis intervention and suicide prevention services to lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and questioning youth ages 13 to 24. I work in a middle school in the Happy Valley, just 20 miles from Northampton, Massachusetts, which is often called the lesbian capital of the world. So I thought my queer and questioning students were fine. I see kids being open about their identity in school. Both queer and ally students read books called Two Boys Kissing or Boy Meets Boy. And I'm allowed to be my genderqueer self at work and get lots of compliments on my bow ties. School life is so much better than it used to be. But over the past year, I've heard about and observed a number of distressing incidents that made my queer students feel unsafe or attacked. I even know and love a student who attempted to end her life. She is an amazing kid who, with support, is totally blinding all the Decepticons of the world. Each year, the Trevor Project provides that support for more than 100,000 teens and young adults who are in immediate crisis or long-term despair via telephone, text, or online chat. There's even a social network called Trevor Space for queer youth to make connections safely online. In addition to those services, they also provide training and resources for friends, allies, and educators like me. It's hard to know what to do if you think a friend or student is thinking about suicide, so visit thetrevorproject.org to get help. Now, because I'm a librarian, I'm going to tell you about some books that I love that star queer teens who are not considering suicide. We all need to read stories about people who made it through the tough times. Beyond Magenta, Transgender Teens Speak Out, is the true stories of 6 teens who identify somewhere on the transgender spectrum. What I love about this book is that the 6 people profiled are so different from each other and their stories so diverse that most people can find something in common with at least one of them. I also love the photo shoots that let them show off their style and their families. Some take hormones and others don't, but everyone is more comfortable in their body after a few tough transitional years. Two Boys Kissing is by David Levithan, whose groundbreaking book Boy Meets Boy was the first book about a queer kid that wasn't about how hard it is to be queer. He has written many books since that first one and is known to push the boundaries of format as well as content. This newest one is about 6 teenage boys with very different relationships. The story centers around 2 ex-boyfriends who attempt to set the world record for the longest kiss. It's narrated by a Greek chorus of the gay men who died of AIDS in the 1980s, watching over today's generation. Kids don't hear much about the AIDS epidemic of the 80s, and this book passes on the memory. I think I had tears in my eyes for the whole 200 pages, either from sadness remembering the ones we lost, or from happiness because it's so much better now, or from imagining what the lost generation of men would think of today's young gay men. Now, it used to be that I read every book about queer teens published because there just weren't that many. But now there are so many, I can't keep up. So, I'll just mention one more that I read recently and loved. It's called Beautiful Music for Ugly Children. It's about a boy named Gabe and his new public access radio show called Beautiful Music for Ugly Children. He's obsessed with music and spends all his free time with the old man next door in his record collection or with his best friend Paige. There's a love story, a life dream, a strong role model, a creative fan group, and a crisis, just like every other story. Gabe used to be Elizabeth. He's trans, but the book is not about being trans. It's about people and relationships and passions. So, no matter who you are or what your experience has been, try reading one of those great books. Reading stories is a great way to learn more about yourself or gain empathy for other people. Adolescence can be really hard for queer and questioning kids, but, as Dan Savage and the internet say, it gets better. So support the Trevor Project this year during the Project for Awesome to help them continue the great work they do. You can donate, go to events, volunteer to answer the hotline or text or instant message support lines. And don't forget to be awesome.